10-Minute Town was a public space performance work created by the MA drama students from the university currently known as Rhodes in 2024. It was part of a larger project called Place Texts, Place Moves, which uses creative writing as inspiration for public space performances to explore urban everyday life. This project is an ongoing collaboration between Anders Høg Hansen and Mikael Rundberg of Malmö University, Sweden, Jade of the University of Johannesburg, and Alex Halligey, who at the time of this particular project was based at the university currently known as Rhodes. The 10-Minute Town project received Erasmus funding, which allowed 2 MA Communication for Development students from Malmö University to come out to Makhanda for the month in the lead-up to the public showings of 10-Minute Town, and it allowed 3 students from the MA Drama cohort at Rhodes to go across to Malmö at the beginning of 2025.
So, I read a story.
One of the Rhodes master students, Sane, had a film shoot in August and wasn't going to be around for the majority of the rehearsals leading up to the final performance of what was to become 10-Minute Town. In the first 2 weeks of the process, we worked together to create a short piece that could stand alone and became something of a prequel to 10-Minute Town. As the audience congregated at Rusty Arch for the beginning of 10-Minute Town, Terry Ralla began her performance, Do My Hands Belong Here? When she got up to leave and began her walk down High Street was when the audience got in the taxi to begin the 10-Minute Town journey in earnest, and were led to the Curry Street Community Library, where they saw a performance created by Jade Denston entitled 2 Spheres of Sorrow.
And I'm doing my master's in drama.
I like to look away.
From there, they were guided further in a taxi to the Knight Street Skate Park for an installation called 5 Gilbert Street, made by Masejo Medisha. From there, the audience walked up to Cathedral or Church Square, and here they saw the full performance of Do My Hands Belong Here by Terry Ralla. From Cathedral Square, the audience walked to the High Court, where they saw Refuse, Refuge, Repeat by Christelle Futsane. From the High Court, the audience taxied to the Botanical Gardens, where they saw Dating Pool by Sive Bavuma and Nhlanhla Mavimbela and Luanda Magwa. From there, they walked down to Eden Grove to see Bloody Valentine, created by Caitlin Barton and Teresa Willoughby. The final taxi took them to the last stop in 10-Minute Town, Joza Youth Hub, where all the cast were gathered for a finale. Research is concerned with how theatre performance can be valuable tools for exploring place, particularly urban places, but also how there can be conceptual lenses for how we understand place.
My work is centered around interdisciplinary theatre and performance, with a particular lens on coloured identity mostly.
This kind of came out of my PhD work, which was around doing participatory art in specific urban places. And during that process, I had this idea of like, what about the literature that speaks about cities? And I thought how cool it would be to take those moments and then restage them in the sites that inspired them. So that creative writing is a way of kind of poeticizing and capturing the moment of the everyday. But then what happens if you take that back to that site and you stage it as a theatrical work? Then all the people walking past get engaged, and it's kind of how the different artistic media create this kind of iterative dialogue around place and placemaking. And then I was keen for there to be communication between cities and different nations, and through a kind of whole series of different connections connected with Anders Høg Hansen in Malmö.
The idea was people do literary writing about their life in the city, mostly young people, amateurs, and the idea was to transform that into theatre pieces which were site-specific and used those literary texts in one way or another.
And Anders's work on histories from below and oral histories has really pushed the project very strongly to looking at original creative writing, and definitely I think kind of the strong focus on new writing by just ordinary people is been really interesting.
I also asked Mikael, this can happen on site. How do we involve our students who are mostly online? And so I wrote back to Alex Halligey, and we started looking for money.
So my role was to broadcast it live, but also capture it. To just film it is kind of simple, but our goal was also to distribute it to the Makhanda students, so we can have a dialogue. The Makhanda setup was really a challenging thing, which I think is really interesting. This was the first time I visited a small town, because I've been to South Africa quite many times, but you always end up in the big cities. The challenging thing was that I was came quite late in the project. The setup was not clear, really. It was somehow to solve it on fly. If you're doing the broadcast, you have an audience, so you need to think on that. If you film it and do post-production, then you have that material to work with. I have the reality to work with, so I need to think on what to try to capture the action, and that you need to do that in real time. I don't have much time to think, to choose what to do. I need to put things together as a flow. I have a trick. I think on what I react on, and I transfer that to the camera. So if I get a strong feeling of look at the left or right or see something, I follow that. That is not a behavior that you should have as a cameraman. Then you have your object to focus on. I know that it should take place in a whole small town, which was quite challenging on the technical side.
Conceptually, the project is a kind of a process art. There's a choreography, there's some kind of degree of control, there's a writing competition, and then the next step, developing plays, small theatrical pieces, but also to put those theatrical pieces out in the open, in front of audiences.
Imagine being told that who you love is wrong and holding their hand in public is taboo. To who? To those who say a man should act like a man and a woman should act like a woman. She felt sure loving her. He felt complete loving him. The pronouns were properly pronounced, loudly stated no. Safe space listed.
The wind and the weather was one factor that heavily affected the shooting. I think we came up with a good solution to capture everything, because we was working quite untraditionally with multi-camera, 360 multi-camera, and also working with a gimbal camera that could shoot static pictures.
And with these 360 cameras, everything outside the center of action will also be captured.
For example, it registers everything on the streets in all directions, which I think is quite interesting.
Why we choose the 360s was that we could relax a little bit.
I don't need to think about capturing everything else, because the audience is a part of playing in these setups.
What's interesting for me on it is metaphor, the metaphors that come out of the writing, and then how we've then created a metaphor of a physical language to incorporate the written language.
It's something about the making material, making physical again.
But it should be noted here that the two students were also very important, and that was part of the thinking the project. And we noticed that when they were applying, that Sam had a strong visual art dimension to photography, and Eva was very interested in writing and in issues around public art and heritage, so on. So they could complement each other.
Before going, I literally had no idea what I was gonna do. The only title was kind of like research assistant. Research is so extractive in its essence, I think, and it, like even more so, like going to another country. I'm sure there's many more people, especially within South Africa, that's much better for this role than me. It's just so unfair in its essence, but I really wanted to be here. It was such a great experience for me. So I think I kind of sat back in this like kind of more comfortable position for me with the camera. And then I was like, okay, maybe this is what I can help or provide with.
We were in charge of producing the poster, all the materials more related to marketing or communication. The first map, trying to spot all the, the route so we could have an idea how the production will be and the distances, especially for Mikael and Anders who were following from Sweden. So for them to get an idea where would we start and to go next. And then performance day, we were in charge of the production, like recording, 360 cameras, documenting, trying also to help with anything that we could, give a hand in terms of production.
Even within like the researchers in the room who are not necessarily part of it, but are part of it. Yeah, like that will contribute because whoever's there, whoever's in the space is contributing in some way. Totally. I mean, like having the two of you here and what you've been able to offer, like all the beautiful documentation you've done, Sam, and like enable all the kind of various ways you've been using your journalistic and communication skills to piece things together is influencing the meaning making, influencing what we're doing.
We were told from the beginning that obviously there is the participatory approach, so that also we were shaping the way, the final performance is. And I had this dilemma where I wanted to be creative and add something, but also I didn't want to step into, the performance creativity. Like, at least for me, I didn't want to be like the protagonist of that.
When I think of Ohadi and I see Mbira, these are very sacred instruments. For an example, the Mbira instrument, it comes from Zimbabwe. And the way that the people of Zimbabwe use it, they use it to connect to their ancestors. So now when I perform with it, right, I approach it with that point of view, with the sense that I'm now carrying this device that connects the spiritual realm with the material realm. And when I brought it now in this project, the 10-Minute Town, it sort of like played a vital role when it came to setting the mood, creating the tone, and sort of like painting a picture of the background of the story. Ohadi is also another very sacred instrument that is used for meditation, that is used for for lullabies. So also when I approach the project, those are the things that I have in my mind. So in the scene, I feel like it has that delicacy to it, then I use Ohadi, right? So I would say that's how these instruments played a role. That's what I had in mind when I was creating these soundscapes.
But then also in the theatre process, it was so important to find some way of engaging participation. So just the fact that the things happen in a public site, of course, facilitates that, because then anyone can watch.
So it's quite nice also to see the way the students have either gone with what they found at the site, or like, I think a lot of them actually started kind of plastering on before they'd actually engaged with the site, but then through the rehearsal process or through finding the space or what it does, then the performance shifted, which was quite nice.
And importantly, I think the writers also recognized that they could see some of their work, and they were aware that now it's another piece about, it's not literary writing anymore, something else. We always do teaching in class, but I also think what was exciting about this project was, let's do teaching on the street. I could see these kind of potentials with Alex's ideas, and to record exciting material, which will also could be used live for students or online.
The inspiration that I got for the story came from a written text by, I think, Gile. So it was more about ancestors and also like witchcraft and those kind of things. And then I just took the story from that and then created a character who was haunted by his PTSD because he had killed people before in the war. So right now the voices are coming back to him.
Yeah, I think there were a good connection between the pieces. I mean, you have to be creative and not just, you cannot copy a text. You have to adapt it and use pieces of it and maybe use from different texts. So you transform literary writing.
And then how do you live as a human being while that is happening to you, and then it's all in the head. It's not something that's physical that people can see.
Images in my head. I'm in this place, surrounded by coffins. Everybody is there,
but then I just took those kind of things just to create the whole story around PTSD, around the war, around whole history. It was next to the graves. You know, there was like it's a graveyard, and I think some of the people there fought in the war or something like that. When we got to the graveyard, we felt that we are dealing with something way bigger than us. So we had to do like a prayer, and also just to let them know that we are not here to take anything. We're also not here to disrupt anything. We are just there to tell a story. Can we please be welcome to this space?
I'm Stacy. They call her Lacey Stacy because she loves to flash her lace to Professor X.
Bianca, that was fucking rude.
Don't swear.
Oh shit, I mean shit.
Forget about it. Chuck it to the side.
I think you started it. I just went off and like, these are all the characters now.
Yeah, Bianca, Stacy. When I name the character that I play, I'm like, I'm gonna make it so outrageous, something completely different from my name.
Okay, it's back now. Yes. Yeah. So has anyone seen in the performance the use of beer crab? Yeah. Did you wonder why? We'll tell you. We'll tell you. We'll tell you. So, students here at Rhodes might have a slight drinking problem.
And then when Alex asked us to be characters on the taxis, it was like, okay, we have to be characters that we play later. So I'm like, okay, Bianca.
Yeah, that was just, I think it just, it came out of being tired and just being playful. And
yeah, I think the exhaustion really pushes our weirdness.
You just do. That's when the creativity takes over.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it here. It just takes some adjusting. Like, recently, I don't know about you guys, but we didn't have water for 3 days. That's terrible. But it's okay. It's back now.
With Two Spheres of Sorrow, it started with one of the writing pieces, of course, called Captured. The writing of this person was it seemed like to me that this person was very family orientated in that sense, and that resonated to me, because I grew up as a young man, as a young adult, to be that family type of person, where I would be caring, as a teenager towards my family, even if that meant that I should neglect myself, neglect my academics in high school maybe.
Started to realize that I'm really excited because there's money involved. Ka-ching! That one thing I thought wasn't the center of my happiness.
Money is the center of my attention.
I wrote Captured because I wanted to voice out my own opinions. And I also wanted people to hear the opinions, even though I knew they might not make a change. I just know that writing and art and every other form of theatre or anything can make a difference. I just know that they can.
I wake up on a Monday morning.
I tried to open my suitcase.
Sometimes my life feels like a rusty old car. One moment I can move,
And the next, I cannot.
pieces of my life are falling apart.
As I'm struggling to provide for my family.
But I'm constantly breaking down. I try to keep it running, but it keeps on falling.
The Two Spheres of, in the title Two Spheres of Sorrow, points always directed to, two important parts of my life. One side would be, where I would have my, academics, myself, and focusing on myself. And on the other side would be, me putting myself into situations of neglecting that academic sphere of taking care of myself, where I would focus on my family. So the other sphere is basically my family, and what I want to be for them, as a person, what I want to become in life, so that I can take care of them, The Curry Park Library I sort of grew up in the space at the library as a teenager. When I started high school, I would just like take a walk, go to the library, take my books, and just, find a space where I could sort of focus more and find some sort of, refuge.
Run away from pressure at home. I felt like I belonged here. I felt safe from my stresses.
Coming back here now, change the rock.
No, off my back. Almost like I'm born again.
I think the story itself can also, be some sort of positive impact that it can form for other young people in the community itself. And I firmly believe in that, when you develop spaces that you can, set up for yourself, and in other people as well, to educate them, then it is actually a very profound thing,
There's the kind of quite obvious meanings in each of the performances, and then exactly what's so interesting is all the meanings you can't account for that just start to emerge through the process of like the rehearsing in the site, the performing in the site, who happens to come. So for example, like Junaid's piece, I think just the act of Junaid talking about that difficulty of being a young man who's at university from a kind of lower income background and the pressures to like bring home money for his family, but also to do good, this kind of aspirational pressure that he feels, and also just a desire to just like live his own life. Like to stage that in a site that is like his home suburb, it is a hugely powerful act, I think, of voicing something that is like really internalized, I think, in a lot of young men in Makhanda.
You see these nice things, flick stuff, flick. How much? Hey, what do we have here?
The taste of geography.
These are expensive stuff, man. You making the people to be witnesses now. You see, they call him Cardo. The real name is Ricardo, but he can't say R.
I step into like the bus, that switch, where you automatically have to like change costume a bit, and arrange certain things of what you were wearing for like the first performance. It was a difficult situation, but Ricardo himself, he was basically a character, who's from like what they would call the hood. So he grew up there being poor, so what he ended up doing was he started like robbing people by knife, taking their stuff.
Listen, let's make a deal. I can take one of you guys out tonight. I'm gonna give you the shot and you can come with me. You don't wanna come with me? No, I'm not gonna rob you.
It made me think a lot about safety in general. And the way people plan their lives, especially if you don't have a car or you don't have private transportation, to get to places at certain time. To go back. There are no taxes. How do we do that? Obviously, everybody told us don't walk. So it makes you think a lot about how cities are, built, spaces, the history behind them.
Listen, please stick together. Not disperse. That's what disperse. The English maybe disperse, whatever.
I think what really inspired the piece was, of course, the story and just being in the space that I had selected. I kind of resonated with the feeling of making the space your home. I was sitting and I was like thinking about 10 Minute Town, like months later after we've like finished everything off. I wished I had written about this person because they were like a homeless person who most people would assume that they're on drugs and that they're probably the worst or the bottom of the barrel in society. And with the installation that I did, the fact that he walked into the home and he felt not safe but welcomed, So I think that interaction kind of made me realize that there are other humans in this world, like, but that space kind of made me recognize them. What I was also trying to showcase is this contrast between the private and personal and safe and enclosed area being in this very open, public, unsafe area. It was this contrast of bringing this idea of what safeness is and putting it exactly in a place where no one would feel safe.
I mean, it's been wild about this piece because it's like, it's staging a domestic space in this like skate park, you know, which is so cool and there's so much possibility for it. But even just that, like, we're going to have a situation where we have an artistic work in a space where there wouldn't normally be one. We're going to have an audience and performers, students, and people who are feeding steam and people who run the NGO, all co-present to some kind of strange, unusual happening in that moment. And if nothing more than that, how great that you brought all of those different city publics together in that moment into a co-presence.
For the venue and the message, the household, going and pouring tea and kind of creating the rest of the environment around you. But yeah, I think that, you know, if we all dig down and just deal with being human, we could resolve some of the tension that exists in the world today.
I feel like the location really advanced the portrayal of the story because you could see the hills and the greenery and the sky and the sun rays from the skate park because it was also on a hill. And the guy next to me who was washing dishes as the story was being read was like, I see it. I'm the type of person where I will immediately invite someone into my space as opposed to going into theirs. So I didn't really mind it.
Okay, this is a one-way road. Is everyone listening there? This is a one-way road if you don't know Makhanda like that. So you just look right, okay, for the cars. Okay,
really interest me because of the different things that they have symbolized throughout human history, helping, nurturing, holding. And so that really fascinates me, that the human being can use so much of themselves to communicate.
Basically, it's about a connection with another human being. I wanted to keep it safe at first, but then I was like, I need more of a challenge. I wanted it to be people that don't know what performance is, or they don't know, oh, this is a performance, or this is a drama student, you know? I wanted a space where it's very busy, but also there's space for it to be very intimate as well. But at the cathedral, it's like, I don't even know who's sitting in front of me, what's their story, they're not a student, this is someone's mom, does this person even have a home? Whatever story, whatever has happened in life for them doesn't really matter.
I think it was a perfect space because the character herself, her eyes were closed, you know, and the participant, their eyes were open, but to some extent there was a mystery to it because they didn't know what was happening, right? So both Ohadi and the Mbira instrument, they play a vital role there because now there is a communication going on between the person whose eyes are closed and the one on the other end. So now the energy, you use it to create that environment for that telepathic communication.
In general, we don't talk enough in society. Or like you either have polite or you have very angry, which I think is also what's so nice about Terry's piece in particular. Of like, it will be whatever you want it to be. Yeah. What I really enjoy about that the most is the people. Even just these people going, we had Rhodes. There's only so much you can do in a theatre space. Totally. You know? Especially if you're talking about art for social change, or like you land up talking to the choir, right? You feed into the choir. But when you take the work into the space, that it changes. I feel like it does something completely different of, this is not my usual walk to work. Yeah, like changes something, yeah. Sometimes I think feel is lacking in going to a theatre space.
Felt at home loving him. Felt complete loving him. They felt sure choosing him. The pronouns were properly pronounced.
I chose to do it at the High Court because the Constitution, which duty is to protect everyone. I felt like it wasn't fully doing so based on the number of GBV crimes and hate crimes which were never really solved, you know.
I remember. We remember. Running for our, for their. Life.
Well, the black refuse plastic bags is normally, or has always been familiarized with, you know, throwing down for trash or rubbish. I play with the bags to, not to directly say that if ever I were to be found dead, you'd find me in a plastic bag, but rather it's almost like the killings or the crimes experience is almost like you're throwing away someone's life. The plastic bag also, for me, is a sense of captivity. You know, you're being captured, you are being confined. You know, sometimes you can't fully be yourself because you're scared. You know, what's going to happen to me if I fully express my sexuality? It's also a comment on how some of these deaths of these victims, they were just found. They were found in places, you know, found in open spaces, found in, you know, dumpster sites. I think that's the thing about, you know, like doing work outside or site-specific work is because people are going about their everyday life, walking, commuting between places, and here you are performing. It has sparked curiosity in bypassers. And then when I'm fully covered, I've heard a number of comments where people were like, why is she doing it at the High Court? Is she allowed to do it here? I even remember overhearing a security guard asking if I had a permit.
She captured the emotions of how people feel when they're stranded. She was asphyxiated by those plastic bags. That actually really helped to see how plays can actually have a bigger impact than just, oh no, they're performing. It just makes the drama feel so more authentic.
It moved along at an emotional level that very subtly drew you in and brought you to the point of tears. Yeah, so she started off, here's this vibrant, strong person who's being slowly diminished and finally deformed. Yeah, it was so relevant.
So we're going to the dating pool, by the way. Have you guys heard of Cash 14? No. Oh my gosh, where have you guys been? He's such a famous TV show host. And
my friend Judy. Judy, who you just watched right now. So Judy is dating Snetemba, and Snetemba invited her on the show. So they got like free VIP tickets and stuff. Isn't that romantic?
The first time we were walking to the bots, thinking of a site, see if there was such a thing as site, we went there, it was abandoned. The pool or the fountain, it was a coincidence or it was a mistake. We were just walking and then we just looked, and then that's where the idea came in.
I think that site has a lot of history that people are aware of as Grahamstown people. So when they go there, they already have their own assumptions. People come here to hook up, people come here to drink, people come here to pray. It's just it's a kind of space that sort of allows anything, but it's usually intimate stuff. So we're taking away the intimacy of it all and exposing your secrets to the public on national television as in a show.
First of all, I think I'm more of a storyteller than an actor. So I tell stories in an African way. Back in the days, we would sit like this, and then there would be fire in the middle, and then someone who's older would tell a story, and then all of you would listen to that story. So I always look at the stage as in we are still in that space.
I'm Jill. I'm the teleprompter, and I'm the lazy one in the show. And we've been going on for 27 seasons and 10,639 episodes.
And now, introducing your show's favorite host, Cash 14! Welcome to the Daily Booth, everybody. I'm your man, Cash 14!
For me, site-specific work is completely new. When it's site-specific, it changes so much. It's not fictional. The stage, we put props there, we make the space wherever we want it to be. But when you're actually at the space, it changes a lot.
While I was doing it, it kind of reminded me of film, without the equipment, without the cameras and all of that. A bit, because you go to the location and you do whatever.
Well, hello, Miss Lena. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Kat, how are you?
So at first it was a guy and a girl, when it started. But then I think the interviews also played a huge role, because the people we interviewed, one of them was in a homosexual a relationship. So we also wanted to keep that story as it is and not change it.
Snetemba.
You'll explain, okay?
You'll explain, Johnny. What?
I'm sorry, Miss Lady. You seem a bit disgruntled. Is anything going on?
The person that you know as Snesh, I know as Snetemba.
Oh, and are you in a relationship with the lady?
Yes, we have been for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I think for me, it's interesting how, you can transform any space into whatever you want to make.
It's like film. But with film, I think you can afford to be crazy, because we can see literally that they're actually filming. Whereas the rehearsal process for this is you actually go to a place and no one can tell that you're actually rehearsing. Ooh, it's a completely different thing from rehearsing in the theater and then they see the final product.
I mean, I cheated because of this, guys. I'm the victim here.
You need help. You need help.
Well, how about you strangle me, huh? Right here, right now.
The world does not revolve around you.
If you have any queries of yourself, please call into 0800 200 201 and catch the next episode where we will look into a professor who is allegedly in relations with the student. Please guys, stay tuned and catch us at the same place, same time. Behind me, right in front of me.
Baby, that is in the mix. I did for
Ready?
Yes. So the psychology lectures are usually in Barrett, which is where we initially performed. So we tasted it there, and we just had such a struggle in terms of space and wind, and because it's so straining on the vocals as well to like try and top the wind. And Alex actually came up with the suggestion that Eden Grove is a perfect spot because you've got this little section in between the stairs, and you're across two lecture venues, but you're still outside of it.
When we first saw Eden Grove, or when we first thought about it being in Eden Grove, it was like, oh, but that building is so boring. And then we saw it and I was like, And then we did the first run in it and I was like,
It's warming up to me now.
And then we got really good feedback from Alan,
Which is like Teresa's supervisor.
Yeah, it's like, use the space. There are pillars, there are stairs, like use the space.
Use
and
it.
then it just happened.
And I don't know, something we just needed to be told you've got permission to play
use the space
and use the space for what it gives you. And the next thing we just started playing on the stairs and going around the pillars and pushing our bodies against the wall and just played. And that's how I think we discovered that we start at the top and we walk you through the space, make you part of it, as if you're coming into the lecture venue with us.
I feel less safe because it's not my stage. It's like some random lecture venue situation. Like, this isn't my stage, this isn't my people. Because there's a certain mindset that people come with when they come to the theatre. And this is now public theatre, so I'm not sure if that mindset is the same, but I am a bit worried about that.
Well, I kind of find the site-specific, I mean, it's out of our comfort zones. We've never done it before, but I find comfort in the fact that, yes, we are a bit disconnected with the audience, but in the same way, we all are going to have a shared memory of that specific place. So when someone from the audience has come from wherever to Eden Grove and they enter that lecture venue, they're going to be like, oh, I remember Bloody Valentine was there.
The last piece at the university stood out as very powerful. Maybe also because it was, as far as I remember the literary writing, it was quite close to true, so I could see, I can see that the writing being transformed into play and so on.
That's it for today's lecture. Class dismissed.
But I also started to enjoy them independently, and they work as pieces on their own, just as the writing worked.
I think that's also like part of what's exciting about it is because part of the space and the place are the people who live there, are the people who use the space, engage in the space every day.
Excuse me, I'm busy. I've only submitted this time. I don't work here.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Attention! The library closes in 15 minutes.
You
see now, guys, I got my box in the side.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No more there!
To the left, to the right, have a seat.
At Josie Youth Hub, we have a few kids who are now part of the performance. Hopefully, if they could be there on the day. Terry has a multitude of strange participants, and which changes the work every single time.
What made it so compelling was that it made use of very different genres, and it made use of humor and drama, and there was soap opera in the park, and for the cabaret of the university there were silence involving hands with different kinds of tropes and tools of communication used in various places. And
as long as the project evolved, I also learned to know the places, because it's the first time you don't know as much about the history and everything. So, but it developed during the process. I think that is quite important. That the play is actually important for us to understand. If you're new to plays, a theater could explain things in a way that, and suddenly you have a relationship with the places, which I think. I mean, I wouldn't have that without the theater. It's clear is that it's quite demanding to put things together. So you need someone to guide you through the material that was actually on site as well, because it's really difficult to explore all the details if you just look at the footage. I'm looking at the material now. We just been seeing parts of it because it's super rich, because each 360 camera captures 360.
If I was to, I go back and give a person in a similar position to me advice going, I think fear can get in the way of lots of things. Obviously there's like in a new context and things, and I think that can mean like stepping back into certain comfort zones which hold you back from really learning and maybe engaging more with people, which isn't very nice. I think I used the camera as a barrier to protect myself in different ways, maybe. And so maybe it would have been nicer to put that down sometimes and maybe engage more in a more authentic way.
We were there for Women's Day, and the performance also that took place at Rhodes University. We don't study theater, we're not drama people, we come from a very different background, but we thought that the presence of theater in the culture was, way more significant than where I come from. So yeah, I would say that the importance of theater and also how people interact in theater, how everybody feels welcome to clap or to say something.
Are you in a relationship with the lady?
Yes, we have been for the past 2 years.
So did you know about the father of the child?
I mean, I cheated because of this, guys. I'm the victim here.
You need help.
And that gives you like an incredible platform to talk about things that people otherwise, if you are in front of your TV, radio, newspaper, people don't have like 1 hour or 90 minutes of full attention right now.
Well, Cass, baby. Please take me back.
Oh, Sinatamba.
Well, that's it for tonight, folks. It's been very good. If you have any queries of yourself, please call into 0800 200 201 and catch the next episode where we will look into a professor who is allegedly in relations.
It would be beautiful to do the same thing in Malmö, where the Makhanda people could join and also debut, because I mean it's sad that we can't do it both ways. Because I mean I think it would be really interesting. The challenge is to engage people in the different places, but we have a smaller audience in Malmö. We know that, but so it would be really interesting to me. But and also because you have been here, you are the link to be able to engage an audience in Makhanda. If we done the same thing here with the same type of sensor, and I think that could render a lot of knowledge how people get attached to places and how that process of social engagement it is working. We have applied to try to do it in Malmö. We are still waiting for this month, and we also plan to involve some other cities. Another African city, Dar es Salaam, Port, and they planned Cape Town, Rundberg, and Cardiff in Wales, and then Malmö. We have 2 cities in the so-called global north and 2 cities in the global south.
The next reiteration of the show is going to be a town channel, and we're going to cover social political issues around the city. I'm speaking it into the universe. Yes.